And we are live. Whew. Here we go. Episode number 2, talking to mentors. Welcome, welcome. There we go.
Hey, Bjorn.
Hey, there you go. How's it going, Megan? Good to see you. Aubrey's there.
Good,
Yeah.
good. Can you hear me clearly?
Aubrey's there. Let's see Mr. AVS himself. The fittest guy on this live. Let's check the Wi-Fi. There we go. Hello, everybody. Welcome. Everybody.
Hey Bjorn, how are you?
I'm good, Aubrey. Welcome to our conversation.
Thank you very much for inviting me. I really appreciate it.
That's awesome. We're going to have a nice chat. And Audrin, are you in? Are you live? Are you connected?
Hello guys, hello everybody, all the other guests, welcome.
Awesome. And Regan, what's up on your side? You
All
okay?
good. Just I have my scarf on. You know, we're in Cape Town, so I have to do this.
Yeah, you and Aubrey look very warm. I'm wearing a polo neck, you know. It's like almost like a scarf. Audrin is in Pretoria. I don't know what the weather is like in PTA.
No, you know, with the winter weather in PTA, it's open skies every day. But if you go out there, it's like 5 degrees. If you tell people it's cold here, they will say, "Hey, the sun is shining." So no, I Cape Town weather, you want to hide away in winter, like you guys there now. Beanie up. I know a winter like that. Like I was like short sleeves the whole day, and it's winter.
Yeah, but Audrin, you got big guns, man. You got big guns. You just want to show off your gun.
Not anymore. Not anymore.
So now I'm very excited for our conversation. And for those tuning in to our second episode, and maybe it's your first time, so the purpose of this conversation is to speak to dads, biological mentors, spiritual leaders, and the idea is just to have a conversation. We are going to speak about a variety of topics over the next few weeks. And yeah, Livestrong exists to inspire the hearts of humanity. And with this platform, we want to inspire the hearts of dads, like I said, biological or spiritual, to imprint our world. That's exactly it. So the conversation doesn't exist to bring solutions or answers. It's simply to have a conversation. In South Africa, we have 74% homes without a dad. We have, South Africa is number 3 in the world when it comes to suicides. It's just too much. There's 26 suicides happening a day in South Africa, and 80% of that is men. So I was thinking, we gotta talk about stuff, man. we gotta take life seriously, but we can't take ourselves too seriously. We're supposed to enjoy life. So for those who are listening in, I got Regan Meyer. He's the model there on my top right corner. So Regan is married to Leandra. I was battling with the names. Yeah, with the
Come on, man.
names are very close to each other. I'm battling with the names. I don't know why. And then he has 2 boys. I want to get the proper names. It's Judah Ray and Lisa Jude.
Yeah, that's correct.
And then he'll introduce himself properly, but he runs a foundation. They do a whole lot of community work, and obviously he's a fashionista. And then Aubrey van Heerden is married to Leandi. See why I got my names confused? He's married to Leandi. He's a mentor. He's a father of a little dog. The hair, it's a rat that's overgrown.
He's a big boy.
But Aubrey is a mentor. He's the director of sports, and he mentors a lot of kids. Like, we've done a lot of work together. We do a lot of work together. He's a phenomenal coach. Like, his commitment and passion for kids and the motivation is amazing. But he'll introduce himself better. And then Audrin, AVS, the fitness guru. the man with the groot gun. So he's married to Jade. They live in Pretoria, and then he has 2 kids. It's Mila and Kai. So he's not married to a Scandinavian wife, but he just likes the name Kai. He's also a personal trainer and he owns his own studio. But I was thinking to start it off, it's always good if you introduce yourself and then maybe just in light of our conversation, share a little bit about your relationship with your dad. I think that would just be good to start it all off. Seeing that Regan logged on first, maybe he can go first.
Awesome. Welcome everybody. That's online. So I'm Regan Meyer. We're going to start at the beginning. Don't worry, I'll be quick. Grew up in Bishop Lavis, close to the airport in Cape Town, if you're not from here. My dad, relationship with my dad, quite interesting. My dad was a drummer. He used to play in a band. Very naughty, very, very naughty, you know, guys that played in bands. And then he quit his job. Mom said, you better quit your job and go get a normal job and then take care of our kids. And I think the one thing I admire about that is my dad quit his job, his drumming job, got a normal job. My mom quit her job, and we had the opportunity to be at home. And he could just sacrifice in a normal way and be there for us. So if I should summarize my dad and my relationship, sacrifice, super humble, and serving hard. And now I have 2 kids, 2 boys, Judah and Levi, and I'm trying to just instill that within them as well. And I think, as alluded, my wife and I started the education fund where we fund kids that belong to another organization that we're part of called Training for Changes, which works with boys in Kayamandi, in Stellenbosch, and in Cluttersville, just to do skills development. So yeah, that's a summary. I mean, there's a lot more, but that's basically the most important parts.
That's pretty cool. So Aubrey, do you want to introduce yourself? Say a little bit about who you are.
Hey everybody, so yeah, my name is Aubrey van Heerden. I'm a director of sports. Yeah, and like Bjorn said, I've got a lovely wife. They're home in bed. Hello, I made it on the screen. But yeah, and I've got a little Yorkie. So yeah, and my relationship with my dad, I think he's one of the 3 men that play the biggest role in my life. I've got 4 pillars in my life, and 2 of that pillars he taught me and engraved basically in my education, and that is respect and support for other people. And that's why I will always give back to the community, because I know I was once part of a community that gave a lot to me. So yeah, no, and I'm blessed to have my mother and my father still in my life, and they're happily married still after all of the 40 years. Yeah. But yeah, so I'm very lucky to have them still in my life, and yeah, playing a big part in my life.
That's pretty cool. That's good. Oliver van Schoor.
Hey, hello guys. Hey, Bjorn, thanks again for the opportunity that we can just have this platform and share our stories. From my side, I'm Oliver van Schoor. I'm married to Jade. We have 2 kids, and we're actually in PTA. I'm currently here 10 years now. Yeah. From Cape Town. So yeah, so we're doing live up here, and yeah, let me just say about my dad. I didn't have a dad in my life, all my life. So I think obviously just my mom being present in my life, but it really just made me strong. And I think obviously both characters, you see, going through that phases of not having a dad, but asking your mom, say, hey, do this. And she became literally in that phase of filling that father space up. But it was really just sticking and obviously getting other people around you in your life, you see, where you can just look up to people and say, hey, my grandfather was there, or uncle, or like somebody else, and say, hey, okay, this is actually how a father needs to be. But like I say, that is really where I am now. But actually, I'm actually grateful for that phase where my father was not, because now I'm actually stronger and thinking, hey, I want to be a better father. But it's actually a great thing now that my actually brother has now the best relationship with my dad, and I actually love that, and I actually prayed for that. That was actually a great thing. But yeah, more of that. Yeah, so that is me with just being with her dad.
That's very cool. Now, obviously, I know all of the stories, and that's why I actually want to dive into it. So, our topic specifically is we're talking about mentors, and I think everybody would have a story or a memory where somebody did something and it completely changed the direction of their life. And I think when we look at mentors, there's different levels to mentorship. There's the one-on-one, everyday, intentional mentoring, or in church world that we normally refer to discipling. There's also peer mentoring, so we hang around certain people and we do life together and we do not agree with each other by default. And then another way is probably distance mentoring, where we look at people from a distance, we observe, we glean, and we take what we can to hopefully build the best life people. I was thinking maybe the three of you can share one or two of those stories and those individuals that actually played a significant part in their life and that helped you change the direction of your life, or maybe the perspective you once had, maybe they helped shatter that perspective and now you live something, or even lead.
Who's going to start, Bill? Okay, thanks. All right, so yeah, I'll dive into it. I think I touched base a little bit on one of my mentors in my life, and I've got 4 pillars basically that I live by in my life, and 2 of those pillars came from my dad, and then the other 2 came from 2 of the greatest men that I had in my life, and on the right moments in my life as well. Unfortunately, they passed away during COVID times. But one of them was my primary school and my high school athletic coach. He was there for me during that times, and he was also the one that taught me discipline. And he installed it in me. I think we knew 5 to 2 meant 5 to 2, and he also gave a new meaning to Mondays isn't that hard. If we heard the words David Moss, then we knew it's going to be hard. So it gave a new meaning to Monday Blues for us during training sessions, but definitely he installed discipline in my life. My nephew, the second person, he was also a great athlete, Olympian. He installed the chasing dream factor into my life. So definitely he told me to go after opportunities and chase dreams. And that's what I'm bringing to some kids now. And I think we need to install that into more kids and teach them as well that you must grab the opportunities that you have and chase those dreams. It doesn't matter how big it is. And then, the last one, definitely my father on the respect side and also the supportive side of things. He was there. Every event, every rugby game, he was there, and it meant a lot to me. The words after each game and after each event, I'm proud of you, son. I think one day that will forever be in me. It doesn't matter if a child or how bad a child does or whatever a child does, you need to be proud of him. It doesn't matter. He's giving his best. So, when you give your best in life, just to say that you're proud of them. I don't have children of my own. I've got a small Yorkie, like I said, but I'm definitely the words, I'm proud of you, and respect means the world to me. So I think that is the 3 guys in my life and the components that they learned me through different situations in my life that stood out for me and I base my life on.
Yeah, that's very cool, because I can attest to watching and observing that, because I know when it comes to your athletes, some of them will do dumb things, like very dumb things, They make you angry, they make you want to lose your salvation, you trek 'n keer baie uitkoms vir hulle. But I know with you, like you would stay fast, like you would just be persistent in the way you would see your athletes. And it's amazing to see that even in that way, you are introducing athletes to a measure of grace, introduce them to another chance and another chance, when many of them wouldn't come from homes like that. So it's amazing to see. So that's pretty cool.
I think Bjorn, and you can also say that I think everybody can say that is the fact that working with children, somehow they're going to disappoint you at a certain stage in your life.
Yeah.
But working with a lot of kids is, you can't take that to the other kid as well.
Yeah.
You need to give that kid the same opportunity that you gave the first one as well. Because each kid comes from a different background, they come with different expectations, different dreams to you. You just need to nurture them, give them the direction to reach those dreams. Small, how big it is.
That's very cool. That's so well said. That's well said, Aubrey. Aubrey, you ready, man? You're ready. You're ready for that next season. I'm excited for the next season. Well, then, tell us about your mentors, or individuals that have played a big part in your life.
Hey guys, from my side, I think obviously let me just give a business side as well. Obviously, I think obviously Bjorn was obviously one of my mentors. So it's nice chatting now on this platform. Hey, for him, obviously started coming back. Hey, he always challenged me and said, hey, this is what you need to do if you want to go in personal training. Obviously, he was abroad and all that. So obviously coming in that space, don't understand the whole scenario of how does the gym work in the environment. Obviously him guiding me and sitting down and putting extra effort in and just coming there and say, hey, not just an envy, because you always had that and say, hey, when I want the best for you. So I love that attitude of him, not mentoring me and say, hey, keeping me behind and say, hey, you need to stay there because, or he said, hey, go for your dreams. And I think, hey, that was really, and I always go back to him and not just, and I always open and being teachable and say, hey, Bjorn, what must I do there? Sometimes he will chase me away. Hey, go. There's last stuff or something. but he really guided me. And then he always checked up on me and said, hey, this is the goals. Hey, what are you doing? And keeping me accountable. And I was always reaching out to him and say, hey, Bjorn, what must I do here? And I would never like say, hey, on a pedestal and say, hey, no, I don't want to help anymore. Still, now I'm still looking up to him, being 13 years in the industry, and he's being out over 20 years already. I'm still going back to him and asking, man, what must I do here? So hey, that is from the business perspective, and now I've seen, but not just keeping that for myself, but I literally give that now to other people because he mentored me, and I can say, hey, this is what my mentor showed me 10 years, 15 years ago, and I can still do it. And if you apply it, but you see, people can give you advice, but if you don't apply, it's just a waste. So I took that and said, hey, let me do it and try it. And by the end of the day, it works for me because I was actually say, hey, give me this. And now, because he has been successful, you see, so he has been all over the world with his fitness stuff. And I said, hey, I want to become like this guy. And I really looked up to him. And you know, I'm still looking up to him in every area of his life. So leading there where he is. And like obviously like you said now, discipleship. And you see, for me, being in the church, I think that is really the critical part. You see, putting God first and not just being there, but you have a leader above you who leads you, and that leader have a leader as well, you see, and like reaching out and say, hey, following up on you on a daily basis and say, hey, doing care calls or say, hey, what are you doing? What can we pray for you? And just leading that and getting that flow in your in your marriage, your finances, raising up your family, of just meditating what your leader do. And like I think that is really a great foundation to build all our lives on. I'm saying, hey, putting God first, and then all the things will fall into place. But I know it's tough, but you need to get back to the basics of just being disciple. Yeah, so that is how I built my life in that regards, by business and doing God.
So that's very good, Odin. Like I always say to people when it comes to mentoring, I often use you as an example because I say I've worked with many personal trainers over the years, and it's a privilege to mentor them. But I always say the most successful personal trainer I've ever mentored was you. And what made you unique wasn't your skills or your experience. Like you obviously know, like you studied personal training, and then there's other people that had biokinetics qualifications, all kinds of titles, but you became probably the most successful trainer. And when to Pretoria, and now you've got your own three-person training studio. And even with that, like you'll still phone. I'll still ask you the 20 questions. But the one thing that always made you remarkable is the fact that you are teachable. And I think that is probably the most crucial thing, and it's always been the thing that anchored you, that you never walked without humility. Like you're always humble, you're always leaning in, and it was never like you were or are disqualifying yourself, or that you maybe think maybe you're not good enough. Just your outlook on life is, hey, who can I speak to? Where can I get insight? So that has always been your I think one of your biggest strengths. So well done. But I think at one stage you must tell them a story about when you were carrying your engagement ring around for a long time, and I was like every day. You were scared to go talk to the uncle. I was on his case every day. I'm like, no, I gotta go. Katie's waiting. She knows the ring is somewhere. You gotta go.
My wife is also on the line. My wife is also
yeah. Vegan, you tell us a little.
Okay, so what's interesting with everyone talking now is that mentorship is multifaceted. It's not one person. It's various compartments of your life, whether it's financial, spiritual, just family, etc. So if I think about those facets, my dad's number one, because he was first in my life, of course. And a few things, like I said, I alluded to earlier, was just sacrifice, humility, and service. Simple things like Saturday morning, get up, go to church, get a, what do you call, Mr. Min and the little lappy, and then you have to wipe all the shoes, you know, like clean it. You have to dust the whole church, and it's big. And but also just through his life, up until the point he died, people would call him at like 12 o'clock, sorry, somebody just passed away in the community. And it's a dangerous community. And he would get dressed in his black suit, and he would go around the corner, and he would go to the family. Just, my mom, he said he used to do it at any time, like 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. And I think that's one of the things, if I look back, and is that he instilled in me that sense of service beyond your family. How can you impact the broader community, not just your sons? And how are you going to instill that within them to also impact other people? So, I mean, so that's the one big thing, is the sense of service, sacrifice, and just humility. I mean, when I wouldn't go to him for fitness, for example, because my dad was quite a big guy, you know, he liked his steak and his chicken and stuff, so he was a big guy. But when I have a friend called Jared, he's like fitness guru, so I always speak to him. Another friend of mine, Brennan, super businessman, has done everything, literally. So the point I'm trying to bring across is that, I mean, you can find somebody for every pocket of your life, and that can add value in that component of your life. And then also, what I also realized is, I just, there's so much out there in terms of content, you know, just people that, like I listen to Dave Ramsey a lot about finances, because I love, and he's super hardcore, you know, to the point, man. I love Simon Sinek more on a secular level, but also just in terms of leadership and stuff. So I think there's so many avenues to get mentorship and grow. I think the key is to look for it. If you don't look for it and you won't be willing, you won't really grow. And I think, yeah, cool.
No, that's very good. I think Aubrey left us. His Wi-Fi might have disconnected, but he's probably going to join us again. But Gordon, I wanted to ask you, obviously looking at your own life, growing up without the dad, and then now being a dad yourself and being a church leader where you get to mentor other men. I love Jade said, be willing to grow. I love the wives all commenting in here. They're going to hold us accountable after this. But I'm just thinking, like, if you had to play your life as a movie, and those mentors that played a part in your life, how do you think your life would have turned out if you just look at your marriage, the way you raise your kids, the way you lead within church, your excellence when it comes to your business? If those men were not around, how do you think your life would have turned out? And what specifically is it that they contributed, maybe for example, to the way you lead your marriage or your household?
So I think obviously without that mentorship, you see, it would have been difficult. You see, because like Regan said, like in every pocket is like of life, there is somebody that you need to look up to. Because obviously, you see, being without a dad, and I think that always have been the challenge for me. And obviously, you will walk around with that fear of becoming a father. You see, will you be like your dad? Obviously, not talking down on him now, but obviously, I love him
Yeah,
now. Forgive me, obviously,
exactly.
you see, accepting him. You see, but you should always like say, hey, what are you going to do better? You see, are you just going to be present there and just being a hands on that and really just laying your life down? Because remember, for 26 years or something, you didn't have that. You see,
Yeah,
and obviously having other leaders in your life of knowing and obviously guiding you and saying, hey, oh, you becoming a dad in a one or whatever, and you give you that advice and you start applying that in that areas of saying, hey, this is what you need to do as a father, and looking up to the people around your community, the people that you connect, you see, in the gym, you see, where you're looking up to your clients, maybe, and maybe your church leaders, and also to friends like you guys. Obviously, I know I've been away, but you are still doing life and showing how fathership needs to
yeah,
be. And you see, but like Regan said, there's a lot of content, you see, and you follow that, but is that really applicable for your life? You see, your situations, how you going to control that, you see, in your life as
yeah,
a father. You see, so that is really for me, like just getting that and say, hey, there's people that speak into your life, and it's here on a daily basis that really cares for you and go out of the way and say, this is how you need to do. And you see, this is how you, because obviously moving away from my family and not having friends around me, coming to PTA, not having that guidance and really that leadership of looking up to people, but obviously connecting to church and having that pastor and the cell leaders in your life that really change your life for the good. And now you obviously can lead other people as well, and really setting an example where I didn't have the example when I grew up, but now I can lay my life down for other dads around me in my
yeah,
community and people that I connect and say, hey, well, AVS, you were there, and you can start speaking in that people's life, and really being humble, not just blowing your own trumpet or whatever, but just being present and say, hey, this is how we need to do life. This is how we need to do parenthood, and that is this all of God. You see, that we can lead that and love people more. And application is really vital. Look at my wife; she want to drop in there.
yes.
Application,
The wife is making, she's
application
making
is
notes. She's making notes. I'm telling you, this is gonna keep you accountable, Audrey. Tomorrow she's gonna be like,
yeah.
you gotta apply. I took
Yeah.
notes.
So that is, yeah. So that is mine, eh?
But
Awesome. Can
I actually love that all the wives are chiming in, because the dream was always that this is also a conversation for women to lean into, because yeah, women can actually, let me just switch on my lights. There we go, because there's no white person next to me, so I need lights now. So I was thinking it's always good for the wives, because I think it gives context to men's reality also. So I think I love the fact that women are listening in, so that's very, very cool. But like, obviously you grew up with a dad that you respected and admired, and who was present. Obviously different to Audrey's reality, but as a Christian man, like, God gives you vision for your own life in your own marriage, and He gives you promises for your own kids. And sometimes a lot of that would be in line with what your dad would have told, but also a part of the faults would have been men that played a part or other people that played a part. Do you have any stories of people that contributed maybe to something that was lacking in your upbringing, or maybe it was a perspective that was different to what you had when you grew up, and now you do your marriage and life different in your upbringing?
Sorry,
It's a
is it for
question for
me or
me.
for Aubrey?
Food.
Oh, so Regan, Regan. I got a different one for Abdi. I got a different one for Abdi.
My job when it comes to kids, but I can't comment on that yet.
Soon,
But I'm very thankful that question is for Regan and not for me.
Yeah.
You already
come from a healthy home, and there'll be a lot of things that are not considered perfect. But I think sometimes there's blind spots. Maybe our parents had, maybe they had great intentions, but the way wasn't always the best. But because you might have gleaned it from other couples, older or peers, now you've applied that to your own life, own marriage, and even the way you lead. Do you have any of those stories, or am I just asking a dumb question?
You know, it's difficult. I think, to be honest, if I have to be honest about that, I didn't really lean into anyone specific as I grew up. I think my dad kind of set the base in terms of those items I mentioned, just about how he treated his wife in terms of, and that's what I try to apply in my life now as well. I remember one personal story. It was really late at night. My mom came home, started going off on everyone, woke everybody up. My mom's an amazing mom. I love my mom. She's amazing, really. One of the most giving people I know. And then, and I was like, why are you doing that, dude? Sorry, I'll answer your question now, but I think it's relevant. But I was like, why are you doing this? And my dad was, and I remember it was like 2 o'clock in the morning, it was 3 o'clock in the morning, and I had to go to school, we had to go to work, it was ridiculous. And I sat there, and he sat on the edge of the bed. My mom was going off on us. And then he said, she's your mom. She's a good woman. She feeds you. She takes care of you. We'll just love her. I'm like, and I remember that today still. And I was like in high school, and it was just one thing he did that set the scene for how I need to treat my wife, you know. And I think Jade said dear Dick and Din, you know. That was my dear Dick and Din lesson on marriage and family, you know. It's like, just still love her with all, that's a moment in time. Look at holistically at your marriage, etc. So my dad was like, really, he was like my ultimate. And I keep on speaking of my dad because he is my ultimate. But if I think about people throughout me growing up, it wasn't people I knew, but it was more on content. Like from a leadership perspective, I really lean into Simon Sinek because I love the way he thinks about leadership and people. So that's something where I could apply that to people and how I interact with my team at work as well. And it works like magic. And in terms of finances, I mean, a friend of mine, Brennan, he's businessman like I spoke to. I could really lean into his wisdom as well. And I always ask when I meet him, I ask him, so why did you do that? How did you do it? And then try to apply that as well. So, but sometimes it's difficult. And just to latch on to what Jade said about the application is key. I think people are so different that we must realize, even when we have mentors, sometimes it's difficult to apply what we have learned. Like Brennan is a risk taker, you know, and I'm a risk taker as well, but I'm a bit more in the middle, and I'm risk averse as well. And I realize, although you can tell me what to do, if I can't apply it, then it's kind of useless. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I think, and Dave Ramsey as well. So I think it's a bit broader than people I know.
That's pretty cool. No, that's pretty cool. I got one for you. obviously, with you, you're involved with schools, and the schools you've always worked, because I've known you are always privileged schools. Obviously, like Paul Gymnasium High, Huguenot High. Now you're the principal at Jan van Riebeeck High. I call him the principal or the headmaster. I call him the headmaster, man. He's the head of sport, but he's basically the headmaster of the school, you know. This is a sports school, is it not? No, I'm joking.
No, come on. No, we're academic school. Academics is first, then sport.
Okay. Thank you for clarifying that.
We say it like that.
Yes, thank you for clarifying. Like we'll tell other people also in case they get confused.
Yeah, I still want to have a job tomorrow, please.
Yeah. No, but I was just thinking, I think one of the challenges for you from observation would be that you want to help guide kids, high potential kids, not only as athletes, obviously holistically, but sometimes their parents can play a negative part in trying to install a healthy value, or even their cultural understanding, even perspectives that they might have. How do you navigate that? Considering what you've learned over the years from other mentors and leaders.
Yeah, so I think it's important. The thing about being at a privileged school, it doesn't always mean all the learners are privileged as well. I think everybody's going through their own struggles, their own things in life, and I think that's a lot of teachers. Let's start with that. A lot of teachers or a lot of persons at the school doesn't really know what that child is going through. They don't know if that child had breakfast the morning, but we know if he had breakfast that morning. And some of the people don't understand that. Some of the people don't understand that last night his parents was chasing him around with a gun or a panga or something like that in the blocks. So a lot of people doesn't understand that about children. And I think now that child comes into a school, let's talk about a school, and we need to get that mindset correct for him to, and I think the thing that I go back to is just the thing of commitment and chasing a dream. So you need to go on the individual basis of that child, and you must stick to that. But what I do with my athletes and my children is I often tell them to write it down for me. And then I just come back to that one fact. But what did you tell me in the beginning? Why are you here? And if you find your why, then it's easy to know where you want to go. But it's the road traveled towards that why is a hard road. And to keep them constantly in that battle or on that road is one I'm still learning what to do and how to do it. But I think practically for me is for them to write it down, see what their end goal is, and constantly remind them, and also the parents, of where do you want to see your child in 5 or 10 years. Do you want to have them? Do you want to give them the better future, or what is the road that you want to take with your child? And we are in a very fortunate position that we can give children the opportunity where they can go and they can really go and provide for their families as well. And I think that's a great thing that we have, the opportunity that we have. But wow, we have to really look after that in a way to protect the kid and the family, and to give the kid the greatest opportunity that they can get. But it's hard. I'm not gonna lie. I think it's one of the hardest things that is in a school, to have a look at. And kids see each other the whole day, so they know the privileged kids, and they know what kids don't have money. But it's to find that one thing that they have in common, and that's a dream. That's a dream, and that's a why in their bodies. If you've got a why in your life, then it's easy to connect kids' dreams with each other. And I think that's the thing that I focus on the most. First of all, the opportunity, and then to get them to the why and the dream. And that's where my mentors taught me that. It's again, I go back to my pillars in life. If you get the opportunity in a school, a lot of kids don't have the opportunity in a school. First of all, second of all, respect the opportunity that you got, and then take it on with all of your heart. And that's where I come in, and the school structure. And we hope all of the teachers and all the parents come in with the supporting side of things and make it easy for the child to rise above their circumstances.
That's very good.
Sorry,
I'm thinking.
Can I perhaps comment on the school aspect?
Yes.
It's very interesting because, of course, you coming from a teacher's perspective, but I went to like Nooitgedag Primary in Bishop Lagos, which was really hardcore primary school to go to. And I remember running home during school because there were gang fights on the school ground while we were having school. It happened quite often. It was crazy. And then I went to DF Malan High School, which is, I'm sure you've heard of them, really good academic school, probably one of the best in the country. And it was, you were talking about dreams. And the thing for me, and I thought about it in hindsight now, but when I went to school every day, I didn't like school because it was so different. It was 1994. It was the dynamic of the school wasn't so nice, but amazing academic background. But what it really gave me was the potential to see where I can go. You know, because the kids came to school with BMWs, and I used to walk from the taxi rank, and I'm like, whoa! One day I'm going to drive to school in my BMW, you know, it's like, and that kind of spurred me on. And I had teacher Aubrey at my school as well. He was my history teacher. And you're doing beautiful work. And just saying one thing to a student, I remember my teacher came to Bishop Lavis and she just said, I believe in you, you know, just I believe in you. So keep on doing that, man. Just that simple act, those simple words have immense power, I think.
Yeah, that's amazing. Because I also want to comment on what Abhi said, because I was thinking the statistic that says that 74% of homes in South Africa are without dads. It means 26% of dads are at home. So the question is, are they doing a good job? And then it means the responsibility of fathering our nation falls on those 26% and on mentors. So people like Aubrey actually has a huge burden to be a father figure. And I was thinking with Aubrey, obviously you and I, we started working together at Paul Gymnasium High, and we get a bunch of them. And like Aubrey would phone me and say, hey, there's a race in the Manus. I got the bus. Can I take your athlete? I'm like, yes, of course. Then take my athlete. Drive all the way to a Manus, feeds them, spoils them, and then he brings them back.
Yeah, but
so the question I got to you, Aubrey, is
I wish we could have drove a BMW. That would have helped a lot.
We're getting there. You're Jan Ripik now. You're the headmaster. The BMW is coming. This is why people probation to finish. It's now end of June.
Thanks, Bjorn. Thanks.
But Aubrey, this is a question I got for you is, obviously, I know you're my brother from another mother, but you're not colored. So the question I got for you is, why would you do that? Why would you care for kids that's from a different community, different race, like completely different than you, and then go completely out of your way, and I can attest to it, to help give these kids opportunities? Why would you do that?
I think, Bjorn, I'm coming from the West Coast. I'm coming from Vredenburg. I'm a visvoet. Afrikaans like. So, so I got an opportunity to come to the school as well. My coach was at that time was a colored coach, my primary coach, and could probably hear about. I can go on a lot about him, but he gave me that opportunity, and he gave me the opportunity to be who I am today. And he always taught us that it doesn't matter. You must just remember where you come from. And our training groups was always different people. There was blacks, Indians, coloreds, doesn't matter, right through the bench club. And a child, I can say a child is a special kind of breed to me. It doesn't matter about color. Really, just need that opportunity in life, a fair opportunity in life. It doesn't matter what your background or where you come from. If you can give them a fair opportunity to fight for who they want to be and who they can be, I think that's what drives me. I don't care to go to a place where there's rocks thrown at me, because some of those kids have had more impact on my life than one of the kids that fathers drive a Porsche and come into a school and wants to tell me about how much money is. That has nothing in my life. I'm more, in a sense, happy in a place where I can make a difference in life, and also in a kid's life. It doesn't matter where it is, if it's on a piece of grass or a piece of land somewhere, or we're just jumping over a rope or pulling a rope. The joy that I get out of that is much more than coaching, getting the prime kids to come to us and coaching an SA champ. I think that's what drives me. It's to deliver one day, to deliver a story to people that it doesn't matter what color you are. It doesn't matter if you are what you're driving. It matters but in your heart and the love that you give to other people. And that love was given to me, and I've definitely got a responsibility to give that love to the world outside. We can't keep it for ourselves. Yeah, we learned a lot of lessons. I think one of my biggest lessons was in COVID time, losing two of those mentors of mine in life, and that taught me to love others unconditionally. But yeah, I think that's why I definitely don't care about color. A lot of kids laugh when I come to a session with my flat cap on and stuff. But that's me. That's the Weskusklong in me, and I've learned from a small age, and that's where my primary coach also comes in. He told me that if people judge you by how you look and what you are doing and how you're acting, they don't need to be in your circle. So you've got a bigger dream. You've got bigger things in life to do. So keep doing you. Don't be other people. Write your own story, and just be you. It doesn't matter who's standing next to you. If it's your wife, if it's your children, if it's whoever it is, be yourself, and and spread your love to other people.
That's very cool. That's very cool. It actually leads me to ask Audryn a question, because Audryn, obviously knowing your background and your relationship with your dad, one of the things I've often observed with dads that grew up with the brokenness that we had, is that one can become so consumed with your own family. Like I've often observed, it's one extreme probably of it, where if there wasn't a dad around, when you have your own family, you only get consumed with your family, and you entirely live for your own family and your growth and your benefit and your advancement. But what I've seen with you, Audryn, is that you are a pillar in your church. I know you do a lot of work with the men, obviously within the community, also through AVS Fitness. Would you say it's because of the lack there was that you do that? Or is it because, I know obviously as a Christian, is it because of a personal challenge that God might have given you? Or why would you do that? Because you could just build your big walls, small tables, and just polish your own kids, but you choose to engage into other men.
Yeah, but like I said, hey, with that is really like not seeing other families or other children being without a dad. You see, being present. You see, but obviously saying to them and say, hey, you are there, but just become a better father, because obviously some of them also had maybe the same story like me, like you say. Obviously, the people in your world. You see, obviously God link you up with people and say, hey, okay, I also had not a dad in my past or whatever. So that's why you see we can build up a community and say, hey, now you can say your testimony to people around you, and that's why, hey, my heart is always people that you see. Obviously all the churches is connected, guys. You guys know, hey, it's love God, love people, and obviously that is still the mandate of going out there and disciples and seeing people going and living in their full potential of becoming a greater dad, becoming a better husband. Because I never had that as growing up, so I always was thinking, hey, where must I go from here? Will I just like you say, hey, it's just me and my from school family all will like go out to my community and connecting with my neighborhood and the people next, you see, your next unit or the people in your street, you see. So I always like think, like ask God, hey, where is my ministry field? And I never have time. And I say, hey, God said to me, tells me, hey, you are connecting with people 12 hours a day and 10 hours a day. That is where your ministry field is. You see, you are connecting with that, you're connecting with brothers, you see, or cousins, whatever. So start being there. And obviously, you know how I'm always in my box, and I never want to go out there. I don't want the push. You see, so obviously that's just this thing of stepping up and say, hey, let's man up. And you see, obviously, you know the statistic better than me, and you know, hey, there's a lot of houses with fatherless fathers, even people being present, but they're not
Yeah.
fulfilling their role as dads, as husbands. So that is really just my thing of staying connected, and to obviously to a leader, and obviously to a pastor, to teaching me and equipping me that I can follow their lead, and that we can grow our fathers, and we know the people, it's broken out there.
Yeah.
You see, every day we connect with people that say, hey, Ordwin, hey, or what be, and you guys know Regan and Aubrey, and you see, there's really for us to stand up and say, hey, let me stand in the gap. And that is really the challenge for us as men to change our generations to come, because if we are not around, you see, what we will leave in our children, all of us being present, raising up kids from even daughters or sons, you see. So we want them to become better than us. So that's why we need to start with our own families, you see. So yeah, that is my thing of just leading my family and people around me. So that's why I love obviously all of us here is men of God, and we know how important it is to laying our life down, because somebody else laid our his life down. Like obviously you laid my your life down for me. That's why I'm still can lead and still being present in other people's lives. So that's why I just keep on carrying that legacy forward. And yeah, thank you, Ray.
That's very cool. Yeah, that word you used leads to my question I want to ask. Yes, it leads me to my question I want to ask Regan, because Regan, obviously you had a great relationship with your dad. You admire him and have major respect for him. And I know one of the things you did was start a foundation in your dad's name, the Reggie Meyer Foundation, and with TFC, you're doing a lot for young boys. So the question I got is, what do you want to see with this voice? What is the game for them? Why would you throw resources, time, and energy into other people's kids? Because soccer boys, they're a rough breed, eh?
They're interesting. Yeah.
They're worse than the
yeah.
players.
No, yeah, they just fake a lot more. They just fall, get sore. But I think Aubrey said a lot of what I want to say. But I think all these kids have dreams. I think a lot of it, I self-reflect on my life and the impact my dad had on my life in terms of how he invested, how consistent he was with showing me those various aspects. And consistency is key, of course. And I think coming back to what Aubrey said about dreams, I think a lot of these kids have, our boys have amazing potential. You know, they come from dire circumstances. I mean, I cry sometimes when I leave their house, you know, because one of our boys, Eva, is doing so well at school, and he told me, oh, coach, my dad left us. We're alone in the shack. So I'm like, what? I just spoke to your dad last week, and he told me he's going to be amazing. He told me, you know, and then you look at it and you're like, okay, it's exactly what Audrey said. We like kind of need to fill the gap and stand in the gap for the dads. And because the one thing that spurs us on is the fact that I know everybody has potential, you know. So, and the amazing thing is it's all exponential. When you change their life, hopefully they're going to go out and change somebody else's life and their family's life and the community's life. And it's so much bigger than that boy or just me or just their family. It's much bigger than that. And I think God really placed on our heart that we need to show them that they all were given gifts and they can impact their lives and impact their families and the community and just go broader. So, and I always tell people that support us, we might not be here to see the fruits of our labor one day, you know. But we can already see, I mean, our oldest kids are grade 10 now, and just how they've grown and how confident they are. And it's just beautiful, like simple things. I picked them up once, sorry, last story. I picked them up once before our little mentor session. So every third month, all of us go to the same burger spot so the people see them grow up. It's quite cute.
Yes.
And when I said, are we going to have burgers? And then they were like, Coach, we can't tell you yet because everyone's not in the car yet. And I know that sounds silly, but I know when I grew up and my aunt say, yeah, what are you having? I'm like, we're having pizzas, we're having this, we're having milkshakes. But they didn't do that. They believed in the collective and in the team. And I was actually quite emotional about that when they left because I realized they understand community, they understand it's about the greater good. So yeah, it's just about instilling dreams. I think that's key for us.
That is amazing. God, that is amazing. Phew. I think we should write a book now. I said it last week. I think always with these conversations, there's so much wisdom that comes out that we should actually write the book. So I don't know. I think for me as a mentor, I think all four of us, when you look at our lives, people will see that where we came from to where we are now, that there's a huge discrepancy. And I think that's why we're in positions of leadership, because we understand the grace that God has extended unto us. So I don't know about you, and this is a question that I need help with. So one of my biggest struggle as a mentor is sometimes you see kids' potentials, like you know how far they can go in terms of sports, character, academics, or whatever they like, but then they just don't live up to it. Like they just don't apply the principles, or they just can't make the perspective shift where they realize that, sure, I can actually be that. Like even as a personal trainer, like that's a challenge, because sometimes the goal is not the physical goal, maybe it's a mental perspective that just has to shift. How do you guys navigate that? Because that's the hardest thing for me as a mentor. I struggle. Oh, I bite my fingers off. Tell me, give me the book. I don't have to buy it. Give me the book. How do you guys deal with it?
I have a quick one. So it's because we've had a lot of problems with some of our soccer boys at school and with relationships. And the thing that comes to mind is, but we taught you this, you know? And I think God really placed on my heart, and really through various situations, that how I deal with it, God told me, like, Regan, you're not the hero. You know, you're not the hero. And I keep on need to tell myself, you're not the hero. We are the mentors, we're the teachers, we guide. But as Jay said way earlier on, the application comes from them. And I think once they have that trigger and that mindset shift, that will come into play. But it's not our responsibility. I think it's our responsibility to guide and mentor and be consistent and love on them. But it's their responsibility to apply. And that's how I make myself feel better, because I feel the same way.
It's wild, this Well, then how do you handle that? Because I know as a personal trainer, you know, sometimes you can see clients for years. I remember with me, like some of those clients will be with me for 9, 10 years. But then you're like, hey, not much has changed.
like I said, that challenge is really key, because if you see yourself in that situation and you want to see that people change as well, you see, because it's just being tough out there, you see, and if you're just leading the people and say, hey, I'm also going through that situation, I think sometimes people is feeling better if you're also telling them and say, hey, I am going through this, but but the main thing is, you see, you need to keep calm in that situation and just tell them and say, hey guys, this is what we need to do, and you just need to restructure them again, because I know why sometimes, you see, God is sending the people on your way, but now your disciples is going through the same struggle what you are going through, and say, how can this guy, when you care call that guy, you see, and now you need to man up and say, why does this guy go through this now? How will I explain this guy now? And then it's just go in the quiet space of just saying, hey Lord, give me the wisdom and the guidance that I can just talk to this guy, or just guiding him and say, hey, this is why God called you to be there, and that you can be part of that person's life, that you can say, hey, this is what you need to do. Hey, don't obviously the pressure is there, you will crack or whatever, but just man up and say, just go to the next level. Hey, and this is how we need to meditate on the word of God daily for every situation, that there will be, like you mentioned earlier, that there can be grace and that mercy that you can give on to other people and say, hey, it's going to be well. Here's the peace what I have got in this situation, and you will overcome it as well. And I think it's just standing there, hey, in that gap for them again. But it's really tough, like you say. Sometimes you don't want to see that client or don't want to see that disciple again and say, why, Lord?
Well, like, it snooze on the alarm. Like, I'm not waking up for that person 5 o'clock in the morning.
Grace grower.
How do you do it? How do you put all these kids with animated dependence?
Yeah. I think I've got a strong, I call it the power position. Power position, one knee, and send up a quick one to the man above. It helps me a lot, just to calm down a bit as well, because it's frustrating when you think there's so many possibilities, and so the kids has so many. He's got a lot of potential, and he doesn't really see what you see. But I just go back to two things, and that's number one, if I can make the kid smile for the while that he was with me, and that's one thing parents doesn't really know. But if you go and tally up all the hours that the kids are with us, it's telling more hours that they're with the teacher or with the coach that they are with them. So we actually play a much bigger role than we think. But so number one is, if I can make that kid smile while he was with me, then that is number one in my life. And then number two is, if I can just improve one thing of him, or that's amazing for me. If I can take off that second, or just get them to be on time, or learn them about, it's not you that needs to climb into the bus first, but let the girls climb into the bus first. So do something, just practically change one thing for the better in their lives. I think that's a realistic thing to tick off. But I know, and that is something that Bjorn, just a side note, loves to do is, my wife loves to tell me that I'm an 8 personality. So my 8 personality is the fact that I want to be the best, and I want the best for the kids as well. So my personality always wants better. So it's frustrating. It's really frustrating. But I've learned a lot in that sense, to just tick off the boxes. The smiles are much more than at the end of the day, the medals or the awards coming to you. And also, if you, the little improvements in life, the small things, you celebrate more than the big victories at the end.
Yeah, but I was just thinking now. So for those who don't know, Aubrey's mentor in primary school, his daughter, he obviously passed away, unfortunately, in COVID time, and then the family moved to Paul, and I actually have the privilege now of mentoring his daughter, and it's fascinating how full circle it has come. She's now in grade 9, a beautiful girl. It's amazing, and Aubrey connected us, and it's fascinating to see the work God has done within her and how she has grown and matured. But I just thought earlier when you spoke of him that it's amazing how full circle things have come. And I think I have about 10 more questions, but we're running over time. So I'll ask a final question. I think it's always a good question to close the conversation with. So what would be advice for younger you? What is your advice for younger you? Regan, those definite times when you didn't believe your dad, when your dad wasn't cool enough anymore, he wasn't smart enough anymore, he didn't have the best advice, those kind of phases. For you and Aubrey and for Audrey, when your dad wasn't there and there was self-doubt and it was challenging to see what your future could be as a dad, as a husband. Maybe just what would your, in closing, what would your advice be to that younger version? Aubrey's still in his naughty phase, man, so he's still going to advise himself now.
Beyond, do you want the textbook answer?
No. It's a great conversation.
Yeah, I think my advice to my younger self will be remember to write your own story, and you're writing your story in pen and not in pencil. So there's no time to erase stuff that you already did, but definitely yeah, write your own story. Don't listen to what other people has to say that much. Listen to the listen to the real men in your life. But there's also some side notes and side people coming in from from my past that I should have just ignored as well. So yeah, write your own story. You are writing your own legacy for others.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
Thank you, Aubrey. Regan, do you want to share your order?
Yeah, I totally take that. So I always used to dress really weird at university, and people used to look at me like, "What the hell is this guy wearing?" I still dress weird, but in any case,
university? What else can you wear?
but I love that. Thanks, Aubrey. And then I think for myself, I actually wrote it down. When it comes to mentorship, is start. I would have started earlier. I should have started earlier with a lot of things because I wasn't good with money when I was younger.
Yeah.
And I should have applied those principles a lot earlier. I would have maybe had a bit more now. And then listening to advice and mentors saves you a lot of time. So that's my one tip for myself. Just apply what they told you, then you don't need to go through the struggle and, like waste a year of your life. It's not wasting. It's learning. You're learning.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my one tip to myself. Just apply earlier, Jay. You said application is key. Apply earlier.
Application.
Yeah.
Latoya, I see somebody commenting here. Latoya, I just want to say I love Regan's dressing. We used to lead groups together in church. I love his dressing. It's my kind of vibe. Audrey, I just want to say JD's back. So your advice is going to take notes now.
For me, obviously, the younger me, I think if I started to be teachable, and obviously that if there was somebody accountable in my life, you see, and obviously getting the guidance from mentorship early, and I think that obviously will change everything going forward in your life. So yeah, I think that's the advice for. Oh, there's load shedding on my side. So, yeah. I think, yeah, that is what I say, guys. So the young guys that is connected here, hey, I think, hey, be teachable and obviously get the accountability on the early stage. It will definitely change the life. Yeah, my wife Jade just bring the light.
Yes,
in. The application is key.
The application. She's always there applying herself.
Thank Thank you guys there. Hey, Bjorn, thanks again, man, for this platform, mate. It was really an honor and a privilege being on here tonight.
Yeah.
Thank the other guests, Vegan and Aubrey there, man. Thank you.
No, I must say, it was really exciting. I knew we were going to laugh a lot. But I think I want to say, keep on doing what you're doing. You guys all inspire me. It's encouraging to know that there's other men doing the work we do and loving other people's kids. That's because we can. Because God is great to us and He's extended grace unto us. And irrespective of where we come from, whether it's a healthy father figure or not a healthy father figure, God has been the consistent father. And I think to be in different corners of Western Cape or South Africa and know that God is using us to influence other men, He's going to influence other men, is really exciting. And I still believe the future for our country is positive. It's exciting because God's still on the throne. Our best days are still ahead because it's not defined by our reality, it's defined by the fact that God is in control. So thank you very much for your time. Thank you for sharing so vulnerably. This is the way men should talk, so that's why it was exciting to have you guys on board. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank
Thanks,
you.
Bjorn.
Now, Bjorn, you must organize a round table with a bra and food, and then we do it in person.
Yeah.
Yes. One day, that is the dream. That I must work on my money also, Vegan, and then we'll do this thing properly. We have a bribe, we chat about these things,
Sponsor.
and we have a camera crew, all in beauty season.
Boom.
Thank you to all the ladies, the White Club. We enjoyed you, the comic relief. We needed that. Thank you
Pilot,
very
sorry,
much.
well,